Welcome to the future of Star Wars, an ongoing series about what Star Wars can look like after the sequel trilogy. This is the third video in the series. The first was an introduction. The second was about how I think the Sith should return to Star Wars post-Rise of Skywalker. In this video, we will be discussing the Underworld. To make clear right away, the Underworld is the crime syndicates and the bounty hunters, all that good stuff. If you missed the first two videos in this series, no worries, there's a playlist on my channel to catch up, and you don't have to watch the videos in order. And just to reiterate something that I said on all these videos so far, I am suggesting what Disney should do for a certain topic, and then I show how it can be done. Like in the last video, which I highly recommend, I explained how important it is to revive the Sith in a way that's not repetitive and feels fresh. Great care, because it's getting repetitive now, that the Jedi and the good guys win and then the Sith just come back so easily. So this has to be done, like I said, with great care. So here's a few ideas of how this can be done. Of course, they could just copy and paste The Force Awakens and have one of Rey's students go rogue and become a Sith. However, who would train this student? Then I laid out a plan of how a new Sith can emerge and take on Rey, and her rebuilding the Jedi Order in her Rey movie. So that's basically how this series works. I talk about how a topic should be introduced post-sequel trilogy, and then I tie it into the Rey movie. And I do this because so far the Rey movie is the only project that has been announced to happen after the sequel trilogy. Well, to begin, the Underworld should be thriving right now. While you can always make the case that the Underworld should be successful, I think this time in particular the Underworld should be at an all-time high. I say this because there should be no powerful government in place during the time of the Rey movie. Now some may ask, what is different about this rebuild than after the fall of the Empire? Well, not to talk about government too much because we'll talk about that in another video, there is a noticeable difference. The New Republic already had leaders that just needed to find a place. Leia, Luke, and the rebellion officers just got put into the government or some system that would help the New Republic, such as the Jedi Order. Not only that, there are many leaders from the Republic who just got their old jobs back after the fall of the Empire. However, the difference post-sequel trilogy is there's no one to lead. The only leaders we have are Finn, Rey, and Poe. Poe is the only one you could argue that could have some leadership role. The reason I bring all of this up is that the government should be in shambles. Any remnants of the First Order are gone, and there is not even any type of system or government or plan that's coming from the Resistance. Now, the Rey movie does take place about 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker, but that's certainly not enough time to set up a republic and a military. Therefore, this is a prime chance for the Underworld. Now, the group that should be succeeding the most is the crime bosses. In such a weak time in the galaxy, crime should be at an all-time high, which of course enriches these crime bosses. So how do we make this work for the Rey movie, and how do we make it important? Well, I think having crime shown at the beginning of the movie is key. Do you have to show the crime bosses? Not necessarily. What you do have to show is people being hurt throughout the galaxy. Show robbery and kidnapping in order to prove how bad of a time the galaxy is in. Then you have to have an interaction between two characters where they have a conversation that goes something like this. Character 1 talks about how they're thankful that at least the First Order is gone. Then character 2 says, well, is anything even better? Then you have another scene of more people in poverty or being victims of crimes. This does two things for the movie. Number one, it shows that the galaxy is in extreme unrest. I really do think it's key to show people being victims of crimes, because a lot of times in Star Wars, we see people talking about how bad life is for people and how bad the galaxy is. However, I think it's really key to actually show the pain from actual people, instead of just talking about it. Now that shows unrest, which will lead to the second reason why showing crime is important. The second reason is the audience will obviously feel bad for these victims, but the question they will have is, where is Rey? If all these bad things are happening, it will lead all viewers to think, where are the heroes? Where is the Republic? Where are our saviors? This is the same question that viewers of The Force Awakens had. Where is Luke Skywalker? When Kylo appeared and killed that old man, the only thought people had, why is there a new Sith? Where is Luke? Why isn't Luke helping these people? So it will be similar to that in a sense, but this time they're going to actually do it right. We then cut to Rey, who is meeting with government leaders, and they're basically going over everything that is happening in the galaxy. They talk about the crimes that are being committed. They will talk about how they can't negotiate with these crime bosses, and how they don't have enough troops or ships to fight them. Then this council asks Rey about her opinion, and she genuinely doesn't know what to do. She feels helpless and doesn't know the best path forward. So then Rey decides to leave this meeting and go take on the crime bosses herself. She flies her personal ship to, let's say, the Pikes, to try to negotiate. She speaks to the leaders of the Pikes and pleads to them, asks the Pikes to work with the Republic. She awaits an answer, hoping they will put some effort into negotiations with the Republic. However, to her total surprise, they arrest her and hold her for ransom. They demand money from the Republic, and the Republic pays up. Rey is released. Relations with the Pikes are worse than before, and now the Republic is extremely broke and can't help people any more than they could have before. She realizes that even though her intentions were good, she hurt the Republic and its citizens. We have more scenes of crime and more scenes of the Republic being crushed by crime syndicates, and how they are unable to do anything about it. Also, I think that in the movie there should be pirates shown and bounty hunters shown. This is how I would bring the underworld into the future of Star Wars, by them having control. How our heroes can't do anything about it, and how they are basically at the mercy of these crime bosses. Also, it could be shown that not only do these crime bosses have total control of the galaxy, they could also show that the crime syndicates have control of part of the government. Now, of course, in the movie, the good guys have to prevail, but I think the government would need a total overhaul for this to happen. I'll talk about the rebuild of the government in the next video. However, this video was to show how the underworld can prosper at such a weak time in the galaxy. Thanks for watching the third video in the Future of Star Wars series. The next video will be coming soon. May the Force be with you.